going on, everybody? My name's Chandler Lyles, and you are listening to The Highlight. We're a business podcast for business people. Lots of seriousness going on here. I got my co-host here, Austin Lynch. Austin, how we doing today?
Doing good. Feeling serious, Chandler. Feeling serious.
Yeah, that is like, if I think about Austin in one word, it's just serious. I mean, look around your office right there. I see on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see our Austin's office setup. He's got a T-Rex fish tank, a guitar, all kind of things. And I will go ahead and give you a teaser for the end of the show. We always end the show with an Austinism, so you got to listen all the way to the end to hear what today's Austinism is going to be. And I've known this man for a long time. It's always a good story. It's always a good. You're going to want to listen to the end. So to start today, I figure we ease into it. You know, it was just July 4th. And you and I, we've been working on the diet a little bit, trying to shed some of the dad bod. Yeah, we're trying to shed a little bit of the dad bod, trying to lose some weight. We've been exercising. We always text each other back and forth. It was just the 4th, though, and we both took different approaches to July 4th. And I want to, which one do you think is the right way? Austin cheated on the diet, gave it up for a couple days. Yep. Went hard, concerts, the 4th, high noons.
Yeah.
And I stayed on the path. Which one do you think is right? And defend your position. Why can you just take a break and just be okay?
Yeah, so, I'm strict 6 out of 7 days. Every week I get one. However, on the 4th of July, all bets are off. I think you get 2 that week. Because it is the 4th, we're doing this not for ourselves, but for our country, which Chandler, as a veteran, you should appreciate.
That's the card you're going to pull?
Really?
Okay. All right.
Really just had to go all out for America, for the boys. And yeah, I think it's acceptable to drink a few extra high noons, have an extra hot dog. Don't shy away from the chips. It's the 4th. We got to celebrate.
It's funny. You're probably right on this. I think what people don't know about our company, High Beam Marketing, is that Austin is the fun in our team. Like, if you don't, if it wasn't for Austin, I would run this thing like I don't even know, military institution. It would be way too serious all the time. So I probably should listen to you. Here's why you can't skip it, though. Okay, because dad bod is a condition that we have suffered from for years. We cannot get away from this affliction.
I've only been a dad for like half a year.
Yeah, and somehow you had the dad bod before that.
I was prepared. I was preparing. I had 9 months to prepare the bod.
You were getting ready for the dad bod, yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, if you take any days off, you're gonna. It's just so much harder to get back on the path. I mean, when did you get back onto the plan post the 4th?
July 5th. And I'll tell you.
You got right back on it.
I did, yeah. Well, part of that is having a weak stomach from putting in a full day's work on the 4th and not necessarily wanting to eat a lot. However, I will say when you go off the rails for a couple of days, it is very tough to get back on that last day. So it was a day of intense focus, but we're back, and here we are. And then maybe this weekend I'll get another freebie, but probably not. It's got to be a full 6 days of focus before I earn the 7th. You see what I mean? And then on that day, if it's an extra drink, if it's an extra snack that day, great. Or you know what? If it's a full day binge, it doesn't matter. That 7th day, freebie.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I think you're better than me, because if I take one day off, I'm taking 20. That's just that's the way your boy's wired. I'm going all in one way or the other. So I'm worried that if I had to let off the gas one time, I will pay the price for the next 2 weeks. It's just not.
I understand that
not
too.
Good. Yeah, maybe it's just know
I think
yourself.
It's mental preparation for the cheat day. It's like
a reward.
It's like a reward, and you know that in order to get the next one, you got to put in 6 more days. And so
I like that.
It's I don't know. And then there's some times where, like right now, I'm craving Zaxby's. I've been craving it for days, and I promise you, on this next cheat day, that's what's going down. And it's like something that, yeah, you earn it, and then once you've had it, it's back in, and it gives you a way out on those cravings. You don't just have
Yeah.
to ignore them completely.
All right. I think I don't know, man. I think you might be right. I think I have to. I'm gonna have to reevaluate my position on all of this. Maybe I can rewind time and re-enjoy the fourth. So,
Well, the good
all
thing
right.
is it
Well,
happens next year too. So
it comes back around. Everything's a circle. So, I mean, what I do want to talk about today. I did not bring you on here to have a diet podcast. I think we should give the people. It's a very serious business podcast for business people. So,
yes, it is
what I'd like
very serious.
to talk about today is something that comes up all the time, and I actually would love to get your thoughts on this. So, working for free, big hot topic. There's a lot of internships that are around, not working for free or working for free. There are people that start new companies and they don't know, should I work for free? Should I give stuff away? Or should I know my worth? Should I just charge what I'm worth from day one and roll from there? And while I let you marinate on that for a second, I want to tell a story. I mean, there was a guy that was wanting to get into being a coach of sorts. He wanted to be a sales coach, right? He wanted to teach people how to be better salespeople, and he's a great salesperson. That's why he's learning how to do sales coaching. Now the problem is that he doesn't have a lot of his own book of business yet, and we were talking through, should he give it away? Should he not? What should he do now? And my whole thing with him was you don't have any credibility. Nobody knows who you are yet. People that worked at your company know who you were, but now that you're stepping out on your own, Sales Training Inc. or whatever he's going to call it is a unknown commodity. Nobody understands your brand. You have no brand authority in any space. And so the quickest way, let me back up. The thing people are worried about wasting is time and money. And so if you can alleviate one of those two pressures by giving something away for free, I think it's a good idea. And that was the thing I pitched him. Now we'll see what he ends up doing, but I was like, hey, give it away for a month. You don't need the money yet, and then see what happens. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all a balance. I think ultimately you have to decide how much time you have, how much tangible resources you have, and, get a grasp on what you're willing to give in order for potential growth to happen. So, if you're in a place where you have a ton of time, for example, and maybe you are in a comfortable spot in terms of finances, everything else, and you're willing to put in some effort for some sort of perceived reward, I think then go for it. But if you're in a position where you already have a ton of work on your plate, you're already growing quickly as it is, and you don't really see a lot of growth potential in whatever this, opportunity might be, I think you just have to figure that out for yourself and decide, because ultimately there are things that you could take on for free or even at a discount and learn something along the way. Maybe it's a new service that you haven't offered before. Maybe it's just a client that you think could be huge in the future, something along those lines. You've just got to weigh out what you currently have on your plate, your current obligations, because you obviously don't want to let any of that slip,
Mm-hmm.
and just figure out what the correct move is for that particular time. Because, right now you might have time and resources, but 2 months from now it might be flip flopped. You might have not enough time and plenty of resources. So you see what I'm saying? I think it's a balance, and you've got to just figure that out for yourself. Um, and maybe also take into consideration the person who's asking you, what is their intent actually? Because if they're asking you to do something for free, and you know you think, or they're framing it up like this could be a win for you in the future, it might be worth taking a second and just thinking through really what is their intent. Are they actually doing this for me, or are they kind of doing it for themselves only?
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of my scrambled thoughts. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
let's
think it's a
unscramble
case
them.
by case.
I think that, I think you're right. I think it depends on where you're at as a business, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like phased out. There's like strategy one when you're a startup company, like maybe you give it away, um, maybe not. What I prefer to do is I always start with like, hey, this thing cost $10,000. I'm going to give it to you for $0 because of, you know, I'm just starting, or, I'm going to do some things, I'm going to learn, whatever. Like there's some hedge as to
Yeah.
why you're getting a 100% credit. I always frame it as credit too, or like a gift card or something like that. I don't like the word discount because I think discount implies cheapness. I think what ends up happening is that when you start discounting things, people start expecting it to cost
Yeah.
that. And you've done price anchoring in reverse. You want a price anchor where you go to the high thing first and you say, hey, this service is usually 10, 20 grand, but for you, we'll do it for 3,500 just because we have some bandwidth right now. And, or you frame it as or I got some junior guys that I'm going to take out on the job, and it's
Yeah.
like a junior job kind of thing. I mean, there's a way you can frame it that's not, oh, last chance sale, we're going to discount it, because
Right.
the minute you start discounting from a marketing and branding standpoint, you've essentially opened up the can of worms of, we are no longer about this brand identity that we had. We are now based on affordability, which ultimately transitions into a race to the bottom, which I
Yeah.
think as a new business owner, you really have to avoid. It's funny. We were my first business was a barbecue restaurant, right? And
Yeah.
Austin always laughs at me when I bring this up because it was my life for 6 years, and so I think this comes up a lot. But we were on this show called The Profit with Marcus Lemonis on CNBC, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But part of the show was we had a mall, the mall food courts.
Yeah.
We had a barbecue location in those. Did I tell you that before? I don't know if
Yeah.
we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Austin always makes us go to food courts for our like weekly meetings.
I
Like we
love
we
them.
have a Monday meeting and we do lunch out somewhere together, and for some reason we end up at food courts, and I just have PTSD, but you love it.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I know I can get a coffee afterwards because it's right there. I know where the bathroom's at. I mean, it's a great spot. You can walk around, sample things that you know you're not going to order. Yeah, I love food courts.
It's funny you say sample things you're not going to order. So my position was, we don't give away samples in this food court because people are just walking around taking a sample
They are.
and they're not actually going to buy from us. And Marcus's point was like, give away a sample because people need to get to know your product. And I mean, he was right, because I was thinking short term. I was thinking in a traditional small business owner mindset where I'm like, hey, I spent $1, I need $5 to come back.
Yep.
And this sample cost me whatever amount of money it cost me. I need all that money to come back right now. We know this from the SBA.
Yeah.
They say that the number one reason small businesses fail is cash flow issues, especially in the first 5 years. So as a small business owner, you have to be really cognizant of how much money am I spending versus how much is actually coming back. Like paying for rent makes sense because you have a building that people come back to. So for
Yeah.
me, I ended up, biting the bullet and being wrong, and we started giving away samples, and it worked, because what happened is that we were giving away stuff. We were letting people try our stuff. We were taking away the ability to waste money as a worry for the customer. So they just got to experience us, and they got to see that, oh, this is a homemade thing. It tastes better, da da da. And then they
Yeah.
ultimately ended up coming back. I had several conversations with people who were like, yeah, I've sampled it a couple times and really liked it, so now I'm here to try it. And it's
That's
just,
awesome.
it's at the end of the day, it's about having a long-term relationship, mindset. Do you want to get as much as you can right now and just always be in that cycle of like taking, because you can go out and hunt, right? And that is taking. Like, you are going out into the land, finding the
Yep.
thing, killing it and bringing it back. And that's a good way to eat, especially in the beginning when you're hungry now. But eventually, if you want to build a sustaining business, you've got to learn how to like plant a field, right? And so we talk to customers all the time about our mentality as a marketing agency is, If you're still a company that's out hunting every day and needs sales right now to pay the bills tomorrow, then we're probably not a good fit for you. But if you're ready to start growing that first field and like really developing long-term relationships, then like let's talk about the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. There are things that you do when it's time to hunt, and there are things that you do when it's kind of time to prepare what's coming for the next 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've come across a lot from people is they're ready for that hunt, so they think they're mentally, prepared to take that step, but they haven't done any of the work prior. A lot of good
What's the work
hunters
prior
succeed
usually?
because, well, I'm sorry.
What's the work prior usually? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, so one example I see all the time is people want to run Facebook ads and they want to see their conversions happening now. And a lot of the times they think they're ready for that because they've done a good job posting organically. They're seeing people respond and engage with their content. But one of the things that's tough is they haven't done the work to prep for that activation of that audience. And what I mean by that is go into your Facebook Business Manager right now, go to the audience tabs, make sure that your Facebook page, your Instagram pages, make sure they're connected to your business manager, and then go into the audience section and build audiences now for engagement focused groups, because you can set one up right now knowing that Q4 isn't that far away and you need to convert those people come time for Christmas. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that audience set up today, when you decide, come November, when it's time to run those Christmas ads, if the audience isn't built, then you're going to be starting from scratch as you're trying to collect on that audience. And so
Yeah.
set it up today, let it populate, let it grow over time. And then once it's time to launch the campaign and hunt for real, you've done the work. There a lot
Mm-hmm.
of successful deer hunters, they fatten their deer up. They feed them corn all year long. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
the work and set up your audiences ahead of time so that when it comes time to really do the hard sale, your audiences are prepped and you don't have to start from scratch right then and there. There's
Yeah.
my rant for the day.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, I think it's for me it's like phases. So you just have to know where your company is at in the
Yeah.
life cycle, right? If you're in phase 1, which is money in the door, yeah, give stuff away so that you can build a relationship. If you don't have a reason for giving stuff
Yeah.
away, for working for free, then you're going to waste time, you're going to waste money. You're just going to end up really frustrated. Phase 2 is, hey, we've actually got to get paid because I got to find out if this is a real business or not. Like, can I actually scale
Yeah.
it up? Phase 3 is when you incorporate both free and paid into the thing. Like for us, we give away how many free consultations and marketing audits, and like every phone
A
call
lot.
we're on is more of a teaching consulting thing than an actual like sales call. Like
Yeah.
I just don't believe in pitching all the time. So even for us now, to a fault, I told a guy no before we jumped on here because he wasn't ready yet. And what would ultimately happen is 3 months from now, he's going to fire us because he's not ready yet and he's not going to get the results he wants. And, we're going to be in another cash flow crunch. So we've got to avoid that on the front end versus what we
Yeah.
did was like, hey, man, you should do X, Y, and Z. That would be my recommendation for you right now. Keep growing, keep growing. Like text me, call me, email me, whatever. I'm here to help. Basically, we're still giving away free stuff. And then, like, but it's advice. It's not me actually having to do any work. I'm telling you what to do. And then hopefully 3, 4, 6 months from now, you're ready to become a full-time client.
Yeah.
My big position is like information should be free. Context is priceless. With the
Yeah, it's a
internet,
teach first, sell later mindset. You want to make sure
yeah,
that they're ready for what you're going to sell them on. Otherwise, what you sell them on isn't really worth much.
yeah. Well, and even when you get them in the door, now you got to have a whole nother re-education process. What I would rather
Exactly.
have happen is you
Exactly.
come in from day one and you're already lockstep with high beam marketing system that we have. And, that's sort of the slide deck we take everybody through. And Like from day one, you know what we do. Do you agree with it or not? And like, let's build this thing together. If you want to do it your own way, go for it. I don't like, there's probably
Yeah.
another way to do this. You don't have to do it the way we do it, but this is the way we do it. And if you want to pay us to help you deliver, this is how we're going to do it. I mean, contextualized to your business, but it is what it is. But I will say that it can go too far. Like you can have clients that want you to work more than they're paying. And I think that's where that's the delineator for me between working for free and being taken advantage of is like, okay,
Yep.
we've agreed to a scope of this project. Like when we do a marketing audit for people, it's usually an hour and a half phone call or in-person meeting, whatever. We walk you through everything you're doing well, and we walk you through what we would do better or what you could improve on. And a little Freudian slip there. I just believe we could do it better.
We can.
Always pitching. So anyway, at the end of the call, it's like you now have this slide deck. You can go implement these changes on your own, or hopefully you end up working with us. Like either way,
Yep.
we're happy for you. You're winning. If you all of a sudden you're like, hey, I need you to would you mind doing a month's worth of Facebook ads for me for free? Well, where we're at in a company life cycle, we don't need to do ads for you for free. We've already given you the free thing. Now you're trying to take advantage of us. Like we had a client, what was that guy's name? He owned like I don't know, like a boat shop or something like that, but he wanted us to basically work on commission or for free. I don't even know. What was that?
It was super vague. He said like at cost, I think was the term he used, which sounded a lot like for nothing to me.
Yeah.
He like promised
Yeah,
a night stay at a cabin on the lake or something.
I
Weird.
do like I like a free cabin. I'd
I
be
do
okay
too.
with that.
One night seemed kind of weak. Like throw in a boat and make it 3 days.
We probably would have worked. High beam marketing's entry price is a boat and a cabin for a long weekend. We will
Yeah,
work for
hey.
you for a month. What a trade. Yeah, I don't know. That guy, I think the difference with him was like we did our consulting calls, and we got to know his business and we were willing to help him. But then still after all that, he wanted more. And, here at High Beam, we have a marketing plan that we put together, which starts with who's your ideal customer? Like what's the ideal customer profile? And, one of the things we look for in customers is that they give more than they take. Because if you're a customer that gives more than you take, and our company is positioning itself as a we give more than we take thing, what kind of relationship comes out of two people working together where they're both trying to outgive the other person?
Yeah.
For
Makes a
me,
big
that
difference.
is, yeah, like, why would you not want to be with that for a long
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's my 2 cents on it. Anything else you want to add on working for free?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like I said earlier, just make the decision for yourself. Don't feel pressured into doing it because you feel some promise that it's really a gut feeling. If you feel like it's really going to help you and it's something that you want to do, then go for it. And if it's not, or if you feel shady or something weird, then don't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
value your time, know what your time is worth, and also know your scope currently and kind of if you actually have time to do something like this in the first place. I think it's a personal decision, not always an easy one, but yeah, just take out all the different factors you know, into mind and make the best choice for you.
Yeah. I love that. Well, it's time for us. We've given. The whole podcast has been a give. Like we've given it to you. Now we got to pay the bills.
You're welcome.
It's time to pay the bills. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Podcast is sponsored by us. If you own a small business, you need help with marketing, go to our website, highbeammarketing.com. We'll link it in the show notes. And reach out. We do free marketing audits where we'll basically go in, check out every single one of your touch points online, kind of like what we've talked about here. And then we'll have a 90-minute phone call with you to sort of walk through what we would do and what you could do better. And, maybe we'll work together.
Yeah.
Sounds
You
good,
should
right?
do it.
All right. As promised, at the end of every episode, we do an Austinism. Austin's the most interesting man on the planet. I think the Dos Equis guy was really modeled after you. So
I'm second to
Austin,
my dad only. He's got
He
me
is the
beat on
Dan
most
is the
stories, but
original.
maybe one day I'll start telling his stories. Well, this week what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a show and tell. I'm just gonna grab something that's near my desk. There's a lot of things. I could do a lot of these bits, and I'm just gonna talk about it for a couple minutes. And so the one I've chosen today is very
I
special
will
to
say
me.
this really quick. Let me say this. If you go to our Instagram at High Beam Marketing, I've got a picture up of Austin's office, which is the coolest collection of stuff. It's totally different than mine, like so organized here. Austin's is like a creative haven, which is funny because of what you do in the company. We do opposite jobs. So
Yeah.
go to the Instagram and you can see it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so this item I chose today, I think it's absolutely hilarious. I can't believe it actually still exists. So, what I've chosen today is this baseball. But it's not just any baseball, it's a game ball from '02. So, I was a lean, mean 9 years old. And as you can see here, 2 hits, 2 runs. Now, I don't know if you guys are math people or not, but that's 100%, okay?
Oh my
100%
God.
hits on runs, and I think that's pretty amazing. Now, it's also important to know baseball was my absolute worst sport. I was trash at baseball. I was okay at some other sports, trash at baseball. So you know that when my coach saw 2 hits, 2 runs, he was like, thank God there's finally a time we can give Austin the game ball, because this was rare, okay? This is rare, and that's why this sits on my shelf still today.
You were killing me. We had this whole long production meeting before this thing, and I said, "Hey, man, you got to really bring it home with a bang." And you come up with a game ball baseball from '02.
From 9 years old. Hey, 9-year-old Austin was elite,
Oh my
100%.
God. All right. Well, you got to see the YouTube channel if you want to see Austin's game ball. What a hook. What a hook. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. We're going to bring these episodes to you every single month. Or what are we doing? We're doing weekly, not monthly.
Yep,
Yeah, we're weekly. We're weekly. That's a
we're
word.
workly.
We're weekly workers, and this is a serious business podcast for serious business people, obviously.
Right.
So, Austin, thanks for doing show and tell.
Of course.
I don't know.
happy to
We'll
do
see
it.
what everybody thinks about it. Let us know in the comments what you think about Austinism this week. Appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you next week.